Hey everybody, it's me, Alura. So this video is going to be number 2 because I actually just made one where we were talking about this great entirety that we live with inside. So this video is going to be about the hologram because that's something that a lot of people are really wanting to know. They want to know what it's about. You know, there's so much speculation and controversial types of ideas, and there's conspiracy theorists and all kinds of stuff out there, and I just want to put it all to rest. I want everybody to understand and to know exactly what it's all about. So let me explain this to you the very best way that I can so that you can kind of visualize along with me here. So first of all, when you are looking at the heavens themselves are represented by what's called the heavenly host. Now, the angels are considered to be the heavenly host. Why? Because we're like lords. We lord over. We take care of. We send great forces of our own energy down into these different realms to give messages. But most of all, those messages, going back to my last video, are like signals. So you have all of these different planets, and those planets are all different energies. They're all different command centrals. That's what's going on. For an example, Saturn is like the command central, and it's run by the Archangel Cassiel. That's the intelligence that resides there. And that intelligence, because hey, you know from Merkaba teachings that when you spin that star tetrahedron, it becomes a sphere. And that's what the real soul looks like. It's a moving bubble and sphere of light. And once it settles down, it starts to branch out and use its little webs of energy as a network to control whatever it is that it's jumping into. So for an example, let's say that Cassiel is ruling over the planet of Saturn. Saturn's energies are all about success, being successful, you know, having that ambition and that drive to work hard, accumulating something, making something out of yourself. And so Cassiel is also a lord of karma because a lot of karma is coming from that. It results from those things. What are you willing to do to get to the top? That's what that energy is all about. What you do, you get back. So really the energy is supposed to represent everybody manifesting their dreams, using that energy to become all that they're meant to become. But ultimately, things have not resulted that way. It seems that only the elite groups know how to manifest their dreams, to become rich and wealthy and happy in this world. And that's not what it was at all supposed to be about. In the very beginning, it was supposed to be about everybody kind of using their greatest, wildest ideas and imaginations to manifest these little worlds around them while they experience this landscaping here. But again, things have changed. So what happened is that we have these planets, again, they all represent something. You know, Saturn's all about, you know, getting to where you gotta go. You have Mercury, that's all about your intelligence and how it's used. You have Venus, that's all about the love. And then you have Mars, that's all about strength, courage, and determination, standing up for what it is that you want to achieve or what you believe in. So those are just a few examples, but now as you look at it, we have our sun, it's in the center, and then the planets, they all kind of rotate around the sun and around one another. Now while that's happening, those energies are sending more energy down towards one another, so they all kind of connect. It's making up a network. So alongside of this, in the beginning, many things were very, very specific in the energies that resulted on Earth. Now, none of the planets would exist without one another. They all work together. They keep things in balance. They keep things in check because of the energies that are being exchanged between all of them. It's an even exchange of energy. It always has been and it always will be. That's how it is. We have this great balance. So in the meantime, these energies that kind of cross over one another from being in that orbit, they are making this grid or this layer around one another while that sun, that central sun, is beaming out that energy of light to bounce off of those energies. And that's creating the holograms that are those environments that you see out there in space. So Earth is definitely one of those holograms. It is. And it's been proven, actually. Now, the energy here used to be very pure. It was all about manifesting your dreams. It was all about nurture and care and divine love. And then wisdom was added because a lot of those energies shifted. So before it was kind of like, if you go back into like the hippie times, people were just kind of walking around like, hey man, peace, love, and happiness, and they were all hugging each other and loving each other, and they didn't worry about who was the smartest. They just felt it right in their heart, and that's all that mattered. And that's how it was here on earth in the very beginning. It was all about feeling it right there in that heart center, because we have the root chakra, the navel chakra, we have the solar plexus, and then we have the heart. So the heart itself, it connects with the fourth dimensional consciousness that you are, because most people are fourth dimensional consciousness, because you're exercising mentality, emotions, you're using your spirit and the physical body. So those are four aspects to who you are. So even though you are 3D in your appearance, you are exercising fourth dimensional consciousness. You're also 4D because you are traveling along the timeline here. So, with all of that being said, you have to understand that because of that consciousness being 4D, it resonates with the fourth chakra, just like the chakras kind of have a frequency and resonance with all of the planets. That'll be another future video, but most of you, after I said that, will probably figure it out on your own. But in any case, you have that resonance with the heart center. It's coming from that fourth dimensional consciousness, and because of that, Earth aligned with fourth dimensional consciousness at first. So it was all about the heart, all about the love, and that's why it had that feminine name, which was called Sophia, or it was also called Gaia, because that was the soul that was surrounding everybody here on this planet. So all of those energies, they got changed. And why? Because things shifted. The planet shifted. They changed direction. They changed its course. And some of them changed in their rotation. So that changed those signals. It changed the command controls, so to speak. And it started sending in different wavelengths of energy. Now, very specific wavelengths of energy created that more masculine type of way of thinking. And that's why they say that the angels are fallen. So, we could get into this all day long. It could go on and on and on. But when you look at things from a higher perspective, now you look at it as in, they say that the angels had fallen, right? Well, first of all, the angels themselves, they reside within the layer because those are the energy signals that are being sent in. It's through those signals that those angels are coming down into the atmosphere to reside. So they reside there. Now they are bringing the signals down from those places and distributing them amongst the atmosphere. And those energies, just like they affected everybody back then, are still affecting everybody now in a much deeper way, because now you're walking right through it. And like I said, you are see-through because you're made out of molecules, atoms, neutrons, so you really are just energy, with your flesh and your blood too, but you're just too big to see it. And also with the vibration, it makes it look physical. So in any case, you have the planet Mars, who is named Samael. And Samael was known as the Great Deceiver that had ultimately misled the Earth. So when you look at this, you're thinking about it from this aspect. So when they said that incarnated angels are really just fallen angels, I've heard that in a lot of different places. Now, that is true in the regards of these very specific energies. Not every single energy that comes from that angelic vibration that comes here is considered to be fallen. There are two different types of ways of looking at this. Now, you can look at it technically and you can say that yes, because you have left a higher state, you could be considered to be fallen because you descended. So that would be the technical way of looking at things. But if you're referring to the rebellion, then we're talking about a very specific type of entity here. We're talking about those beams of energy, those particles of light that were at a greater understanding because they come from a greater source out there, and they came into this atmosphere, settled down within the atmosphere, and they're pulling those signals down and controlling the people through the energies that are going into the wavelengths within Earth's atmosphere, within the hologram. So everybody walking through them, they get influenced by it, and that's why everything has changed here on Earth. So Cein is streaming energy from himself into this atmosphere, and when it is leaving this greater entity that Cein is, it is really just a smaller version of him, because it's that energy. It's standing firm, being very dominating, very, very controlling, because the energy of Mars had changed. Why? Because it shifted. Everything shifted. And because of that shift, it shifted the attributes and the energies that originally went with those heavenly hosts, and they were sending in different signals because of that great change. And that's why they call it the rebellion, because they went out of the normal order and shift that they shifted from what they had been in. So things have changed a whole lot for planet Earth because of the energies that are shooting in from all of the heavenly hosts that are considered to be fallen, because they had changed in their shifts. So those signal shifts too. So people have changed. They've been growing gradually and gradually more towards applying more of that left side way of thinking to the emotional, but because of the intensity and frequency of the energy, it led people to become more on the left side. And mankind, who knew about the planets, the heavenly hosts, and how everything worked out, they knew how to manipulate that energy in a much greater way to make everything according to how they wanted it to. So the elite groups and those that are very, very powerful, they're powerful because they have connections to those that are right there in that higher level, and they have that connection to those command centrals. So not only that, but we know that these beings, these energies that came down into the atmosphere, these souls that became a part of the atmosphere that were responsible for carrying in those frequencies of energy from those greater planes out there, they too also were incarnated into physical form and made their own bloodlines. So now the programming was embedded into the humans directly too. And that became a great big ordeal because of that. Now the consciousness was really embedded into mankind. So it was coming from outside and coming from within. And that's why the world has become the way that it has. So everything is a hologram. The universe is a hologram. It's made out of this plasma that is the soul of the creator. They're just thoughts. It's just energy that's streaming through the creator's mind. And everything that you see, feel, hear, and touch, it's all just a vibration too. Just a different form, a different conversion of the attributes and energy that are coming from the command central up there of that great being that's driving that physical vehicle that is the brain that we all live in. So this is a lot of information to take in, but the next thing that I wanted to talk about really, really quickly while we still have time is that everybody, talks about the violet ray being the strongest ray of light, and it really isn't the strongest. I know that it is very merciful. It carries its attributes of mercy because, let's face it, since it's energy and it's effective, that energy itself comes with the attributes that are coming from that great command central. So everything that streams from that light, and then that pineal gland is what that light is reflecting off of. So it becomes the prism that shoots out all those beautiful colors out into the brain. And all of that's separating in fragments, which are really just souls, and they carry their own forms of intelligence through it too. And it passes down to those little particles that break off from that, and so on and so on. So all of the rays of the rainbow and the white ray, every single type of energy in existence carries a form of intelligence. So next to that, if you're looking at that spectrum, violet is right there at the very top. And it is full of mercy, but it is not the most powerful ray to call on. Ultraviolet ray is, because it is the next in line. Now it's not visible, but who cares about visibility anyway? We're working on a spiritual level, aren't we? Not everybody can see spirit unless you are a psychic and you're awakened. But yes, when you can see into that spiritual level, that's when your sight starts to change, and you can start to see things at a violet type of ultraviolet ray. And I know I do. There's a lot of times when when I was growing up, people thought something was wrong with my eyes because I would always see this ray of very, very, very bright light, look kind of like the neon lights that are inside of like a tanning booth and such. It would go around people, and sometimes it would be right in front of them, and my eyesight would blur. And the Creator told me that that was because I was awakened and I was seeing things for what they really were, and that was some of those ultraviolet rays that were coming in from the sun here into this planet. Now, not a lot of them do get in because of Earth's magnetic layer, but for the most part, some of them do. Now, that would be the highest ray in the spectrum. It is very powerful, and it is full of extreme beauty. It has all of the attributes that come within the vibrations of that spectrum. We have mercy, we have love, we have intelligence, we have the I am. That's what's inside of the violet ray. So that would be the highest ray of light, and it is the best to work with. It's so full of love, and it's something that you can't really explain just with words because it's so perfect. But if you really go back, it's a lot like the white light because everything comes from that white light anyway. It's that light that comes in through that eye center that goes to the being that sends the signals, and the signals hit that pineal gland. The pineal gland sends them out into these different arrays of attributes at all different wavelengths. So it all really just goes back to one thing, and that one thing is that source, and that source is everything. It's everything. So all of this is a lot of information, so just take it in. I am so looking forward to being able to, work with a lot of you to tell you where your soul came from. What ray of light did it come from? Who created you? What command central do you come from, And why are you here? These are all questions that are very, very important. And also, what have you experienced in your journey? What did you learn in that journey? What is the data that you're collecting for that being that is driving that beautiful brain that is our universe? What is it that you're collecting? So, yes, in the scheme of things, there were other beings that came down. These were just smaller portions of energy that were coming from those main sources of energy. As those planets shifted, it changed the whole entire network of things up there, started streaming down these vibrations that infiltrated that beautiful, loving heart center, and it became all about, domination and control. So Earth tries to attune to whatever consciousness lives here. It's not the other way around. It cares for the life here. And that's why it's willing to do whatever it has to do to protect it and safeguard it. And if it has to attune and change its energy to fit the consciousness here, it will. So as the people here in this earth are lowering their consciousness, that is why the atmosphere has changed. If you go outside, you may feel like there's like a dimness in the air. That is because the earth is crying. There's a lot of darkness out there because of these darker energies, these reversed attributes of source that have come into this atmosphere that are known as those so-called fallen angels, and then them going on to take on these physical bodies and to create bloodlines infiltrating from inside and without. It just took over totally and fully. So everything is light. Light is energy. Energy is consciousness. It really is. And it exists on so many levels, so many spectrums, that it really all just goes back to that one thing, this beautiful network of light that comes from this one main source, this command central out there. But it really is most important for you to be able to understand where you fit into that scheme of things and to know what you've experienced, because you're not doing this for nothing. Your soul's going to go on to bring this data back. It's already doing it. And everything that you experience affects all of us, because not only is there a network out there, but there is a network around the earth, and then there's another network inside of the atmosphere that's made of these negative energies, and then all of us are connected because the aura can expand from anywhere from 8 to 13 feet, sometimes larger, depending on the vibration. And we're walking inside of one another's energy, and we're all kind of connected through these branches on this great big tree that is that network. And that network itself, it all connects back to those archangels or those commanders, those greater sources of light that go back to that one creator up there. So we do have a mother energy, we have a father energy, and then we have this great being that is driving it all, directing everything, and that is that anointed consciousness, that all-knowing consciousness that everybody wants to reach. But it takes many different phases and levels to get there. You know, I know that they've blown smoke and mirrors when they tell you you can just all of a sudden ascend and zip off into the universe. And it's a sad thing to hype people up for, instead of telling you that there's much work to be done. Start doing this, start planning this, start working on this. It's going to take a while, you better get ahead now. They don't tell you that because they don't really want you to reach it. They want you to walk around and say, oh, you ascended, and you know, you haven't gotten that level with them yet. You need to start somewhere. And unfortunately, they're just not presenting the information because all of the teachings here on earth are earthly based teachings. They come from those beings in that shift when the fallen angels came from that shift of energy. As that network changed a little bit, reversing those attributes, those souls came into this atmosphere, and through that affected everybody. And then again, like I said, infiltrated from within through the bloodlines because they took on those human forms. And because of that, you know, it's just been one big ugly mess. So that's why all of these other beings of light came into this atmosphere, because those of us like we angels and the star seeds and even fairies, because they've gotten tired of their domains being filled up with yuck. I mean, it's all junk inside those layers. But yeah, there's a grid there. There is a grid on the outside. There's a grid out in the universe. There's a grid, you know, around the planets. I mean, it's everywhere. There's always some kind of like net that are made of energy that's surrounding each and every environment. So everybody's getting tired of this net that was made by mankind, those negative spirits in the air, and they want to get back to the original net that was Earth, that was all about that heart center. But it's because of those energies that have shifted, you know, it's going to be very difficult to do so. So we have to learn how to use the direct energies of that network rather than using the energies that are being given to us and directed to us by those streams of light that are changing and reversing the attributes. So it is very, very intricate. I hope that you follow. It's very hard to understand, but I'm trying to help kind of put it into words. Sometimes some things can't be put into words. And I'm not using a book, because I know that there have been some people that came on and they say, oh, well, why don't you read a book and you'll learn the terms. I've read books, okay? I've got degrees. And I've not only got degrees, but I have memory. So putting that all together, you know, I'm a very educated person. It's not about the terminology. It's about trying to find the way that it really is. Not according to the books or what man says, but what source says, because that's all that matters to me. And sometimes there is no definition for it, because out there it's a whole other language, a whole other understanding. So I hope that I've done a good job in trying to kind of interpret it there for you, helping you to understand that there are many networks of light. They all kind of connect together, and because there was a change in this network out there in our solar system, it has changed the whole scheme of things here on Earth because of the beings that have delivered those energies to Earth, and then to the people, and then the people who then made their own grid of light. So it goes on and on and on, and now that these people do have access to make their own networks and tap into the other networks, you know, they are streaming in a lot of negativity, a lot of destruction. They're not reaching that outer layer, which is Earth's original grid, because if they were, this place would be all about love. So I'm about love. Are you about love? I hope that you are, because love is all that matters. It doesn't matter your gender, your background, your creed, your belief. It doesn't, because really we all believe in the same thing. It's just different words coming from different places. And through that, there is this common theme. There really is. Even though that common theme itself may not be 100% the truth because of all the things placed inside of it and infiltrated into it. But as long as we have good people like myself and others out there to decipher it, everybody will ultimately gain the truth, because there's a lot of truth missing, and that's what I'm here to do. So stay tuned for more truth to come. I love you all so very much, and I will see you all next video.